everyone, I am Lina Baulos and I will be discussing understanding groups and themes. Jillian, Hazel, and I are hoping that this presentation would be of help in understanding this topic. The following is the learning outline for this presentation. First topic, understanding groups. Define the different types of groups. Describe the 5 stages of group development. Second topic, explaining work group behavior. Explain the major components that determine group performance and satisfaction. Discuss how roles, norms, conformity, status system, group size, and group cohesiveness influence group behavior. Explain how group norms can both help and hurt an organization. Define groupthink and social loafing. Describe the relationships between group cohesiveness and productivity. Discuss how conflict management influences group behavior. Tell the advantages and disadvantages of group decision making. Third topic, creating effective teams. Compare groups and teams. Explain why teams have become so popular in organizations. Describe the 4 most common types of teams. List the characteristics of effective teams. Fourth topic, current challenges in managing teams. Discuss the challenges of managing global teams. Explain the role of informal or social networks in managing teams. Understanding groups. To understand groups, I will discuss what a group is and how it is formed. So what is a group? A group is defined as 2 or more interacting and interdependent individuals who come together to achieve specific goals. Let us bear in mind that groups are formed because of goals or purposes, and the members of the group work together and rely with each other to achieve these goals. There are 2 kinds of groups, the formal groups and informal groups. Types of groups. Formal groups. Formal groups are work groups that are defined by the organization structure and have designated work assignments and tasks directed at accomplishing organizational goals. These groups are formed deliberately and systematically so that the goals are better achieved. The people working in an organization is divided into smaller groups, and each group is responsible in fulfilling a task which will contribute in fulfilling the organization's goal. This increases the efficiency of the organization. There are 4 examples of formal groups. These are command groups, task groups, cross-functional teams, and self-managed teams. Informal groups are social groups that occur naturally in the workplace and tend to form around friendships and common interests. The group formed by 5 employees from different departments who regularly eat lunch together is an example of informal group. Examples of formal groups. Command groups. Groups that are determined by the organization chart and are composed of individuals who report directly to a given manager. These groups are relatively permanent and are characterized by functional reporting relationship, such as having both a group manager and those who will report to the manager. Most employees work in command groups. The typical examples of command groups are Quality Assurance Department, Industrial Engineering Department, Personnel Department. Task groups. Groups composed of individuals brought together to complete a specific job task. Their existence is often temporary because when the task is completed, the group disbands. The members of these groups typically remain in command groups while simultaneously serving in a task group and continuing to carry out the normal duties. As an example, a committee is formed to search for the new superintendent. Cross-functional teams. Groups that bring together the knowledge and skills of individuals from various work areas or groups whose members have been trained to do each other's jobs. These individuals have functional expertise working toward a common goal. It may include people from finance, marketing, operations, and human resources departments. Typically, it includes employees from all levels of an organization. Members may also come from outside an organization, in particular, from suppliers, key customers, or consultants. Self-managed teams. Groups that are essentially independent and that in addition to their own tasks, take on traditional managerial responsibilities, such as hiring, planning and scheduling, and evaluating performance. How are groups developed? According to research, groups develop through 5 stages. First, forming, second, storming, third, norming, fourth, performing, and fifth, adjourning. The forming stage has 2 phases. The first occurs as people join the group. Once they've joined, the second phase begins, defining the group's purpose, structure, and leadership. The storming stage is appropriately named because of the intra-group conflict. There is conflict over who will control the group and what the group needs to be doing. During this stage, a relatively clear hierarchy of leadership and agreement on the group's direction emerge. The norming stage is one in which close relationships develop and the group becomes cohesive. There's now a strong sense of group identity, and this stage is complete when the group structure solidifies and the group has assimilated a common set of expectations or norms regarding member behavior. The fourth stage is the performing stage. The group structure is in place and accepted by group members. Their energies have moved from getting to know and understand each other to working on the group's task. This is the last stage of group development for permanent work groups. However, for temporary groups, the final stage is adjourning. This is the stage in which the group prepares to disband and is no longer concerned with high levels of performance. Group work behavior. Internal variables affecting group behavior. The individual abilities of the group's members, the size of the group, the level of conflict, and the internal pressures on members to conform to the group's norms. The following are the major factors that affect work group performance and satisfaction: external and internal conditions, group member resources, group structure, group processes, and group tasks. Conditions affecting group behavior. The external or organizational conditions: overall strategy, authority structures, formal regulations, available organizational resources, employee selection criteria, performance management system, organizational culture, and general physical layout. The internal group variables: individual competencies and traits of members, group structure, size of the group, cohesiveness and level of intra-group conflict, and internal pressures on members to conform on the group's norms. Group member resources. A group's performance potential depends to a large extent on the resources each individual brings to the group. These resources include knowledge, abilities, skills, and personality traits, and they determine what members can do and how effectively they will perform in a group. Interpersonal skills, especially conflict management and resolution, collaborative problem solving, and communication, consistently emerge as important for high performance by work groups. Personality traits also affect group performance because they strongly influence how the individual will interact with other members of the group. Research has shown that traits that are viewed as positive in our culture, such as sociability, self-reliance, and independence, tend to be positively related to group productivity and morale. Negative personality characteristics, such as unconventionality and dominance, tend to be negatively related to group productivity and morale. Group structure defines roles, norms, conformity, status system, group size, group cohesiveness, and leadership, which is to be discussed on the next chapter. Managers are not the only individuals in an organization who play various roles. The concept of roles applies to all employees and to their life outside the organization. Like us, We are playing various roles like employee, student, sibling, daughter, and etc. So what is a role? Role refers to the set of behavior patterns expected of someone who occupies a given position in a social unit that assists group satisfaction. Individuals are expected to do certain things because of their role in a group. These roles are generally oriented toward getting work done. Problem will arise if individuals play multiple roles and adjust the roles to the group to which they belong at the time. These problems are role conflict, experiencing differing role expectation, role ambiguity, uncertainty about role expectations.